Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and I have a little update on that finale of Ms. Marvel. Well, the Ms. Marvel series ended with a bang, and we're going to dive into some of the details that went down in this episode. So before we get really into this video at all, I wanted to give you a warning. This was a big surprise. I don't want to spoil it for you, so if you haven't seen this episode, make sure you click away, go watch it all the way to the end, and then come back and join the discussion. Now, needless to say, today's Ms. Marvel finale was an incredibly fun ride. But going into the show, we really had no idea how much of a major game changer was in store for us for the MCU. Now, as many of you know, in the comics, Kamala Khan is an Inhuman, and this is a big part of her background. As the show has moved along, her origins seem to be getting altered greatly, and the Noor dimension and the Jinn seem to be at the center of her powers. Now, by the end of this episode, we were saying goodbye to Bruno. He was headed out to Caltech to start his college career. Now, as the smart guy in the chair for the show, he had done a little bit of work for Kamala, and he told her he had always been fairly suspect of how her powers worked. Clearly, she was connected to the Noor dimension as a source of power, but they never explained why, and this led him to doing some genetic testing. Well, it turns out she's still not an Inhuman. But he did reveal something more interesting, that she had a genetic mutation. That's right, she's a mutant. Now, they didn't actually call her a mutant in the series, but they did play the theme song for the X-Men in the background, so that was pretty on the nose. Now, we know Marvel is coming to Hall H in a couple of weeks, and the X-Men reboot are likely to be a big part of that. This reveal that Kamala has the X gene is likely tied directly to that, and it is a massively big deal that now in the MCU, Kamala Khan is the first official mutant. Now, as you might expect, the actor that plays Kamala, Iman Vellani, was absolutely overjoyed that she is going to be the MCU's first mutant. Now, over at Marvel.com, they shared an article where she talked about an email from Kevin Feige and how excited she actually was. She said, "They sent me, and only me, the draft of the final episode, and I immediately freaked out. I emailed Kevin Feige in all caps. I was like, 'Are you doing this for real? Are you sure?' I'm so honored." I was yelling at him through an email. I was freaking out. This is the biggest deal in the world, and the fact that this is happening in our show is crazy. People are going to lose their mind. They're going to lose everything. I did. It's truly a big deal. Now, it's not really an exaggeration to suggest that this little family-oriented show has changed the MCU forever. We do know Kamala is coming back in the Marvels, and there's a lot going on there. If you stay for the post-credit scene, don't miss it. So I'm really curious on where this goes next. I suspect by the time we get through Comic-Con in about 2 weeks, we'll have a lot more information about the Marvel mutants. But she is clearly a mutant. They played that X-Men theme, so there's no doubt about it. So where they're going with this, I have no idea, but we might be seeing a lot of teenagers in the MCU start showing up with powers. I do wonder what this means for the status of both mutants and Inhumans inside of the MCU. Obviously, the emergence of mutants is going to play big moving down the road, but does this mean the MCU is not going to have Inhumans at all? This seems sort of weird after we saw Black Bolt in the Earth 838 world in Doctor Strange, but we'll have to wait and see how all that works out. Now, all 6 episodes of Ms. Marvel are now streaming over on Disney+. So again, if you haven't caught up, check out the show. I was really pleasantly surprised how great it was, how much I learned, and how much I liked Kamala and her family. But until we know more, what do you guys think? How did you like the finale of Ms. Marvel? And how do you feel about Kamala Khan being the MCU's first mutant? Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.